Welcome to the No Limits Podcast, where limits do not exist, where you can create cash flow, equity, and real freedom with the power of real estate.
3, 4. Now, we will begin.
Welcome to the dojo. The dojo. This is Todd Toback, and today I'm going to talk about an acquisition hack that if you implement it, I guarantee it'll add an extra 10 deals a year to your pipeline. Now, if this is the first time you've been listening to the show or you have not been to our website, go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com. I have a gift there for you. It's called the Wholesaling Map, the Massive Action Plan. And if you have not done a deal, it's going to give you the steps to do that. Or if you're looking to scale up and start to build a team, it's also going to give you those steps to be able to start to attract people and really get that next step to get yourself out of that rat race and get some deals consistently on the board without your personal involvement. So go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com and download that. So let's talk about this acquisition hack that's going to bring you an extra 10 deals a year. And this is probably the simplest thing that you could add to your business. So a few years ago, I had the Wall Street Journal reach out to me, and they wanted to interview us on how to manage remote sales teams. And so I was excited about the interview, and I was expecting, them to ask us about, how do you attract them, or how do you work technology, or, how do you make sure, they're working. But what came out of the reporter's mouth really just opened my eyes. I was really excited because she says, how do you keep your teams productive? How do you keep making them money, right? How do they make you money, right? A lot of people say that you can't work remote. What is that? And I sat there and I'm like, wow, that's a really, really good question, right? Why are we able to keep our teams productive? And so I had to sit there and think, and the answer popped in my head. Okay, but I don't care where you are in your business. I'm going to share this with you in a second. Okay, but if you're a solopreneur, you can use this, right? Because you are your acquisition specialist. Or if you build a team, you have to implement this. You've got to implement this. By the way, if you are at a spot where you are starting to think about hiring a team, you can also go to nextlevelwholesaling.com. And there's an assessment there that you can download that'll have you score yourself in different areas of your business, nextlevelwholesaling.com. So the answer that I gave to the reporter is I said, it's the top 20. And she goes, what's the top 20? I go, the top 20 is a relentless pursuit of the top 20 leads in your pipeline. So many new investors, when leads come in, it's chaos, right? They either are not using a database, or they're not using it properly, or there's no organization of follow-up, or there's no priority of who they should be working with. And so your success as an acquisition specialist, or a wholesaler, or a real estate investor, or a business owner who's targeting anything is your relentless focus in separating the contenders from the pretenders. Right? So when I'm talking to the reporter, I said separating the contenders from the pretenders. Now that is kind of a sports analogy. And I got a little laugh out of the reporter. And I said, listen, every single Monday, we have everyone review their top 20. So before we get on the meeting, right, we meet every single Monday. And that's something that I tell all of my one-on-one clients to do, is you must meet with your team every single Monday. If you are a solopreneur, guess what? You have an employee, and that's you. Right? You are the boss and you are the employee. So have a meeting every single Monday. And before we get on that phone, I want you to identify your top 20 prospects. And if you've been in business for any length of time, if you've been generating leads for any length of time, if you don't have 20 prospects, you're in trouble. It's because you haven't been prioritizing, and that's okay. Today is a new day. So you're in trouble today, but you could start on your new path tomorrow. So what is the top 20? Well, for us in our business, we like to label our leads that come in the door. Now, a lead, I don't know where you are in the stage of your business if you're listening to this, but a lead is anyone who calls in on our marketing, or if we've done some cold calling and some outreach, anyone who's raised their hand and said, yes, or maybe I'm interested in selling. That is a lead. So we identify people who, again, call in or people who we've called out into some different categories. And so we have discovery. This means that we have not got a hold of this person yet if it's inbound marketing, right? They've called and we haven't been able to get them back on the phone. So we need to discover where they are in the process. There's your do not contacts, right? So these people who say, take me off your list. And after that, we do not contact them. We have cold. Now, cold is where we see no motivation. They have no timeline. They're the lowest priority on your list. And you decide that you will follow up as you have time. These are the lowest priority on your list, and you will only follow up only after your hot and warm leads have been highly targeted and every single lead has been nurtured and a commitment set, which leads me to the hot and warm leads. So your top 20 should consist of hot and warm leads. And really, once you start creeping above this 20, you really don't have a bunch of hot and warms because these should start to close or they should start to get off the hot and warm list. Something I talk a lot about in our no limit selling system is asking really, really, really good questions, digging deep, peeling the onion back and facing the truth. And so if someone's on your list for any length of time and they're not ready, or you are asking the really tough questions, then you should start to reveal that they're not a fit for your top 20, right? Or you have people on your cold list that when you ask the right questions, they now move on to your hot and warm list. But every single day when you wake up, you look at those top 20. Then on that meeting, I say, we're going to identify our top 3 prospects on here. Tell me the very next step that you need to take to push the deal forward today. So do you see this urgency that I'm creating? We're focusing on this top 20. And then we're looking back and saying, okay, what are the top 3 that I can move forward today? What's that next action to take in this laser focus where we're going to push the deal forward so that you can get paid today? And if you've got a team, you've got to get them paid today, right? It is your duty to lead this team to victory. And so you've got to set the pace. You've got to set the cadence. You've got to set the intensity, right? Yes, I'm intense. If you're a leader, you have to have your own version of intensity because they're coming to you because of your magnetism and your leadership. If you do not have that energy and that urgency, I promise you, they're not going to create it. Okay, so you are going to set the tone here. Now, remember, your hot and warm leads, you need to nurture these, right? Some of them are going to be ready to go today, but you smell something brewing. There's a situation brewing. Maybe there was a death, a divorce, they're back on taxes. They've got a family member living in the property. Maybe they've got a job relocation coming up. Maybe that tenant is starting to not treat them so well. Maybe the repairs are starting to add up or some health is failing. But remember, okay, you're going to smell this. That is our job by asking really, really, really good questions. By the way, if you don't have the No Limit Selling System, you can find out more about that about nolimitsalesystem.com. Okay, again, there's some free training on my website about that also, so you can watch that free training before investing in the system. If you smell flexibility on price and they're not revealing motivation to you, that's also a reason maybe why there should be on the hot and warm. When anyone has some flexibility on price from that retail price, it may show you that they have something brewing that they're not sharing with you, and that's okay. Okay, but very, very important to do that. Now, you need a way to categorize your leads. This is really important. You can't operate like an amateur. You can't go to battle without a sword and a shield. Do not go into battle without the proper tools. I recommend that you have a customer relationship management program. This is just software that keeps track of your leads. So if you want to know what I recommend, go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/CRM, nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/CRM. We have partnered with FreedomSoft, and they have a phenomenal program that will enable you to keep track of your leads, categorize them, follow up with them with text messaging and emails. Great program. So go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/CRM. You could start out with folders if you want to. That's how I started out. But again, this is, a different age. It's funny. I used to be the rookie in this business, just like you, by the way. So every single day, you need to be going down your own list of top 20 and identify what the very next step is for those leads. And out of those top 20, you take those 3. And you should be removing people from that top 20 and adding people to that top 20 so that you are hyper-focused every single day. What I would like to see is for you to have a firm commitment from every single lead on that top 20, a date and a time to speak next, and the very next action that needs to happen that's going to push them towards a decision. Okay, now a lot of times when you're dealing, especially with older folks, is that we're not pushing them to sell to us. We are pushing them to their very best decision. So sometimes I'm trying to just push them off my top 20, right? And I'm like, look, if you need to get these people off the list, get them off their list. And so you want them to identify in their brain what that is. So for example, we had a seller who says, well, I have to talk to my son before I do anything. And so they were delaying that decision. And so we pushed for that, saying, listen, have you talked to your son? Right? Last time we spoke, you committed to talk to your son. Have you done that? And she said, no. I said, okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we reset our appointment for next week, same time, 10 o'clock, and then you agree to talk to your son before then. Is that fair? Yes. So long story short, she talked to her son and she decided that she was going to go list with a real estate agent for top price. Well, that's great. We just saved ourselves some time and energy. And now she went and sold for top dollar. She didn't have a problem we could solve. And so now she is out of our world. And now we could add a new deal to our top 20. We had a very, very similar situation where someone else had to talk to a parent, but it was a firehouse and they were waiting for some insurance proceeds. And because of that, we were able to use that commitment move to get the seller to commit that once they got their check, they would call us, go into contract, and sell the house to us. And so that had the opposite effect. We did that deal and made $40,000. Okay. Very, very, very important. And remember, I always recommend running towards a no. So that top 20 will give you yeses and they'll give you no's, but don't be scared of the no's. Very, very, very important. Always be asking, how can I do a deal today? That is my recommendation. How can I do a deal today? Who can I talk to? Who's on the fence? Who can take that next step today? That's very important. A lot of times, if you're looking at your top 20 and you're like, nobody's there, I'm kind of waiting on everybody else. It's because you've got weak commitments and you're not asking deep enough questions. Right now, somebody is ready to do business today. Go out there and get it. So here are some little hacks and ninja tricks that I'll give you that I talk about in my system. So use these questions. Get on the phone and call those top 20 and say, what's holding you back? Notice that's an open-ended question. They can't give you a yes or a no, right? What's holding you back? Or another question would be, how can we put a deal together today? That's another one. Now, another one where you've been dealing with someone a very, very long time and they've been just waiting and nothing is happening. Try this one. Say, why are we still talking? I know that we've been talking for a year and nothing has happened. Why are we still talking? Now, that is a bold question. Do you know why most people don't ask it? It's because they're scared of the answer. Do not be scared. The truth will set you free. So you're going to get one of two reasons. One, you may find out they're talking to you just to be entertained, that they answer the phone for everyone, that for every telemarketer that calls, they spend an hour on the phone with them. Okay. And that is good news because now you can get them off your top 20. If you have some people on your top 20 there and you don't smell that motivation, get them out of there. Or they may tell you something that you didn't know before, an objection or a step or another party that's involved or a title problem that needs to be solved that they have a fear of, right? Or maybe the overwhelm of moving that they're not sharing with you. But again, I've talked about this. You cannot fix what you cannot face, okay? You cannot fix, what you will not face. Very important. Focus on moving people in and out of your top 20. Set times and dates and strong commitments with all of these people. Finally, last 2 points. When you hear the word no, I want you to ignore it. And what I mean by that is I've talked about resistance before, right? No means not yet. I can't tell you how many times I've seen acquisition specialists inside of our company and outside of our company, and they said the seller said they need X or they will only take X. And I said, go back and tell them that you're willing to do X, Y, Z, and then shut up. Or ask, I'm willing to do X, Y, Z. You're at X, Y, Z. Is there any way that we could find a way to do business? And then just listen. Now, if the answer is still no, wait. Okay, put them on your list. If they're deserving to be on your top 20, leave them there. If not, move them out and make them a lower priority. One more ninja trick. CYA. So I had the opportunity to work with Tony Robbins' top sales manager, and he came in to be trained by us on real estate. And then he came in to train us on remote sales teams. So we agreed to train each other and work with each other because we were the experts on real estate and he was the expert on sales. And one of the things he used to say is change your approach, Todd. Whenever you are using one method of attacking something, or you're talking to a person, or you're using one sales strategy and that's not working, don't do that same thing over and over and over and over and over again, right? Go and change your approach, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again, expecting a different result. So one thing that you can do, I have noticed this, they do this in the car industry, is they call it a TO, a turnover. And so I have noticed that sometimes when you are talking to one person and you're getting one answer, if you get another person on the phone who will not only validate the first person, but then they will say something in a different way, sometimes you will get a completely different answer. So if you have a business partner or a spouse or someone else who you could work with, who could help negotiate a deal or try a different approach or ask another question or see it from a pair of fresh eyes, a lot of times you may get a different result. Now, these techniques don't work every time, but they work a lot of the time. And remember, as you stack the opportunities and they start to compound, you are going to start to see massive results in your business. I promise you. Okay. So if you have enjoyed the show, please copy and paste the link and share with 3 or more of your real estate friends who would benefit from today's content. Talk to you soon.